am in Mahary in County Armagh, standing here on the shores of Lough Neagh, and it's the largest freshwater lake in Ireland, and indeed the largest freshwater lake in the whole of the British Isles. Over there is Coney Island, which has a long and rich history. There's evidence of human settlement there dating back over 12,000 years. The island was connected at one stage to the mainland by a causeway or a submerged bridge, which can be seen in the summertime when it's under less than 2 foot of water. And it's known locally as St. Patrick's Road, as the saint is said to have used Coney Island as a place of retreat. Unfortunately, the causeway was breached in the 19th century to allow barges to operate in this stretch of the water.
The lake and its surrounds is beautiful and wild, no matter what the weather. It is also an important centre for biodiversity, with many species of fish, birds and insects making it their home. It has always been an important wintering point for birds that make their home further north in the Arctic region, and elvers, baby eels, swam here each year from the Sargasso Sea in the Gulf of Mexico to feed and to grow in the loch.
But the number of wintering birds has dropped by 75% in the last 20 years, and the number of eels that are travelling here to Lough Neagh has dropped dramatically as well. And both happenings are linked to global warming. The loch is a good barometer of what is happening to our planet because of climate change and the steady rise in temperatures. So as we celebrate the feast of St. Patrick this year, who spent so much time working and also in retreat in this area, we are encouraged to think about the effects that climate change is having on our land and the responsibility we all have as stewards of God's creation to do what we can to save our planet. St. Patrick and the people whom he worked with and lived with and moved among live close to nature. This lake and the rivers around it would have been highways at that time, crucial for travel. They would also have been a great source of food and water for the locals, and also islands like Coney Island behind me would have provided protection from wild animals and indeed invaders and marauding rivals from other tribes. St. Patrick spent years working as a slave on Slimish Mountain on the other side of the lake, which I believe can be seen from here on a clear day. That time on the lonely mountainside would have given him a great appreciation of the beauty and of the wonder of nature. He used that natural source to spread the message of Jesus and explain the mystery of God to a pagan people. And the shamrock was his most famous example of that. A marvellously simple method to explain the Trinity, a complex mystery of our faith. So, as we follow in the footsteps of St. Patrick, we look for new ways to explain the mysteries of our faith to a new generation who have lost that closeness to the earth and nature, and who oftentimes, unfortunately, look for instant answers to very complex questions. One topic, however, climate change, has unified people, particularly young people, in a way that has really rarely ever been seen before. The fragility of our beautiful world comes into focus at this time as we contemplate the effects of global warming. And Pope Francis, in his encyclical Ludato Si, encapsulates the Christian teaching on this subject in a thought-provoking way. He was one of the first major world figures to give voice to the truth that we all have a responsibility to care for the earth. In chapter 2 of Ludato Si, he says that humans are uniquely created and called to exercise responsible stewardship over creation on behalf of the loving Creator. And he goes on to say that living our Christian vocation is a call to protect the environment. It's not an optional or secondary aspect of our Christian experience. To finish, I've just stepped in here to the Church of Our Lady Queen of Peace here in Maherry, just to say that beautiful prayer of St.Patrick, which is called the Deer's Cry. It was a prayer that supposedly St. Patrick said and composed, and it was a prayer that saved him when he was under attack from those who wanted to do away with his influence, particularly the Druids who wanted to capture him and perhaps even to have killed him. But he and his followers recited this prayer, and in legend they are supposed to have turned into deer who simply passed by those who wished to do them harm. So I think this prayer encapsulates in so many ways St. Patrick's view of nature. And I think as we approach his feast day and celebrate his feast day on the 17th of March this year, we think particularly about our own attitude to our environment, and maybe reconfirm our commitment to do what we can in whatever way we can to save our planet, to save our environment, and to save the wonder and beauty of nature which we can see in this area around us so clearly. I arise today through the strength of heaven, light of the sun, splendor of fire, speed of lightning, swiftness of the wind, depth of the sea, stability of the earth, firmness of the rock. I arise today through God's strength to pilot me, God's might to uphold me, God's wisdom to guide me, God's eye to look before me, God's eye to hear me, God's word to speak for me, God's hand to guard me, God's way to lie before me, God's shield to protect me, God's host to save me, afar and near, alone or in a multitude. Christ shield me today against wounding. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I sit down, Christ in the heart of everyone who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me, Christ in the eye that sees me, Christ in the ear that hears me. I arise today through the mighty strength of the Lord of creation.